We're on.
We're officially on. All right. Awesome. Okay, and everybody can see my screen okay? Yep.
Yep,
Okay.
got it.
Awesome. All right. So welcome to week 2. In this week, I'm hoping that everybody can start out relaxed and okay. I myself have been a little stressed, so I chose this picture to help me calm down. It's been kind of a crazy week, but I'm hoping for everybody else that things are good, that you're back into the year, and that you're settled, relaxed, and doing okay. If you are not, please contact us because we want to be able to help you and relieve some of your stress and if you have questions about things or things aren't working. Week 1 was super fun for me. I'm sure it was for Brandon and Tony as well to get to know you through your introductions that you did in week 1 and just going through some of the different, I've had a few conferences this week too that it's been really fun. So hopefully it's been the same for everybody else to get to know people. One of the first things I want to talk about is the technology integration project, and just kind of reiterate what this project is so that you understand. So it's not due until week 11, but we tell you right at the very beginning so that you've got the time to put it together. So this is a project that you're going to design and implement and then reflect on. And so there's several pieces that go with this particular project. And it doesn't have to be large, but it can be. But it also can be small. So it's whatever actually fits in with what you're already doing. We don't want it to be extra work, but we do want it to be part of what we're learning in class. And in some cases, at least some of the people that I've conferenced with already, it's nice to give yourself a little bit of a challenge, but don't kill yourself off, right? So the project itself includes 5 pieces. So I just kind of outlined them here. So the first part is that you just identify what you think will work or fit in with what you're already doing or that is interesting to you that you can do with your students. Then you do that collaborative planning with your instructor. So that's the conference that you have with your instructor. And I think you need to have that conference, correct me if I'm wrong, Brandon and Tony, but I think that conference needs to be done at least by week 5. So you have until then to have that conference with your instructor to just plan that through. We all decided, because we're running this class all together, that we would put information on our homepage about how to do that conference with your instructor. So please check the homepage of the Canvas course to see how your instructor is doing that particular conference. And I think with my people, I sent them out an email to also tell them, but they can just go to the homepage and see. The next part of it is the implementation. And required in the project is that you do it for 4 weeks. So that means that the latest you want to start that implementation is week 7. And I would even suggest maybe week 6 so that you have a week to pull it all together before it's due on week 11. So keep that in mind. You probably want to kind of come up with a timeline for yourself as part of your planning so that you can make sure you've got that 4 weeks that you collect your student work samples and document that student work that they're doing with the integration tools that you have chosen. Then the next part of it is the presentation part of it, and that's asynchronous, meaning you create however you're going to present that so that somebody can watch it separately or take a look at that separately on their own time, okay? So I put a link there to kind of what that means, the asynchronous, so that you can see just right in the slide deck. And it says in the project itself what that presentation should entail. And then another part to it is the reflection. And don't forget to do this part. Some people do it in their presentation and think that counts, but it's actually a separate piece. So you're welcome to reflect within your presentation, but then make sure you still do this 2 to 4 page summary of your project work. And it says here to do it in a Google Doc. Those of you in Davis, you can also do it in a Word doc and have it in your OneDrive folder. So where it says Google, just insert Microsoft. But either way, it works for this class, okay? So if you have questions on that, please ask your instructor, ask any of us, but also just look at that in the assignment section. That's the technology integration project. Okay, so I just wanted to go over that. In a minute when I take questions, if you have questions, just ask them, or you can put them in the chat, and we'll watch for those questions if you have them. Okay, so moving on to what we have going on for week 2. Each week you will have readings, a discussion, and assignments. And that's pretty much weeks 1 through 8, and then starting week 9 is when you really focus in on finishing up your project and your portfolio. So this week the discussion is going to be about educational technology in the big picture. We ask that you please do your original post at the latest by Sunday of the week. That gives people time to then reply. So if you've at least done your original post by Sunday, then there's time for you to go back in and reply to at least 2 other people to their original posts with a reply to them and a response. And then the assignments this week, there's a part A and a part B. So assignment A is where you're going to establish your online portfolio. And I think the suggestions are Google Sites or Weebly, but it can be other things as well. Just double check with your instructor, but we pretty much accept any spot that you want to establish that will work as a portfolio would be great. And then assignment B, you'll have to make sure you click on that from the week 2 overview page. This is where you put that link to your online portfolio. And you want to make sure, the reason we need that is as we get closer, I think it's week 8 or week 9, I can't remember, but we're going to have you do a peer review of each other's portfolios. So we know it's not due yet and it won't be completely done, but you'll want to have some things done so that your peers can review. So we wanted to make sure you understood that this early in the class so that you could plan for that in your timeline as we go through class. So if you have questions on that, check the link for the assignment because that has the specific details of that assignment. And then if you still have questions, please let us know what your questions are so we can help you with that. Okay, and then the readings this week from Enhancing the Art and Science of Teaching is Chapter 1. So you'll read through some of that theory and those different things. And then there's a couple of supplemental texts. So as you answer the discussion question, this will be really helpful reading. And those 2 supplemental texts are on digital citizenship and developing culture. And so they're both really excellent to take a look at as you get ready for your discussion post. Okay, so far, any questions from anybody? Okay, sounds like everybody's doing okay. Just
nothing in the chat either. Just the links in the chat.
Okay, perfect. All right, so
sorry, we have one question.
Okay, go for it.
There's just 2 separate pages, like one's a discussion page and one's the assignment page, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so we were just curious. I don't know, it looks like you're supposed to get a grade on both, but I think they're the same thing. Are we supposed to post on the discussion page?
So, yeah, so I'm looking at the week 2 overview right now. I think you can see that on the screen, right?
Uh-huh.
So you have the discussion is where you post, and the discussion will be based on, it'll give you what you want to post on, and the readings go along with that. Like the readings will help you to answer that discussion post. And then the assignment, you'll notice that there's 2 spots there, and you'll have to get to the week 2 assignment B from this link that's on the overview page. Because if you just hit next, 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 I think it skips over this. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, and did that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, good. I wasn't sure if I got what you were saying, so hopefully that got to it. Okay. Any other questions? Yes, so in the chat, somebody asked, the discussion is an additional graded requirement plus an assignment, and that is correct. So every week in the course, you'll read something that will help you in posting your discussion posting, and then there will also be assignments. And as you look at those assignments, you'll start to see that those assignments will help you to build your portfolio. So as you go through each assignment, as you do them, then you can add some of those things into your portfolio. So this week, that's why the assignment is to establish that portfolio, because from now on, the assignments will help you add to that portfolio. Okay. Okay, any other questions? Okay, so the screen that's up right now is a map, basically, but it's showing all of the elements. So another one of your requirements for this course is that you present on an element, and because we're sharing this course with everybody, we figured we would need 2 people per element to present. And so you signed up for that, and we've got some people that signed up to share today. So we'll see their presentation in just a minute, but I just wanted to kind of show you the overview. So the first 5 elements, which we will hear about today, are lesson segments that involve routine events or like procedures and things that you do over and over and over again. And then the next section, that's elements 6 through 23, those will address content areas. And then elements 24 through 41 are lesson segments that you enact on the spot types of things. So I really liked this chart, and I think I got this from Brandon and Clint from the last time we taught the class. I thought this was a great chart, so I just wanted to share that with you. In this, you could kind of see the organization of the text and kind of the organization as we talk through these different elements when you guys present them. Okay, so that brings us to the time that we have for text elements presentations. So it looks like Rose and Matt are doing providing clear learning goals and scales, and they have sent in a link. So I will go ahead and click on that and pull that up.
Hey, Rose, or hey, Carol, sorry.
Yes.
You can stop that at 5:10. The rest of the video doesn't need to be included, but thanks.
So go ahead and stop it at 5:10?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Thanks.
All right.
Hi everyone, I'm Rose Yazzie, and I'm presenting on communicating learning goals from Chapter 2. So I decided to use learning intentions and success criteria to clearly communicate the learning goals. Some of the success criteria includes identifying different types of learning goals, explicitly stating learning goals, and using success criteria, which Matt will talk about later. Some examples of ways to enhance that using technology include using text features like highlighting, changing font colors, and then on the right I have an example from Nearpod. So using things like Nearpod and clickers to have students restate the goals in their own words, and then seeing it collaboratively and seeing how students interpreted each learning goal. Next, tracking student progress. Some success criteria for that includes using different types of assessment to track progress, so not just focusing on summative, but going through other types of assessments as well, showing increase in knowledge and skill, and then having students reflect on their progress and assess their own growth as well. Examples of that include using revision history and things like Google Docs. And then on the right, I have an example of Class Dojo to show student behavioral growth and to show the different things that they've been working on. in a really visual and easy to read way. Next, celebrating student success. We want to make sure we're celebrating the final status or like proficiency as well as growth and effort in those knowledge gains, and provide student feedback to students in a timely manner. So some examples of that include sharing those knowledge gains on like the class website, having students make a tutorial if they become proficient in a certain skill, and using things like the comment option on class websites to post congratulatory notes.
All right. The second part of element 1 is talking about creating scales and rubrics. So first of all, the chapter gives us a couple of suggestions on just making good rubrics. It talks about going off what Rose said, putting the learning target in the middle, and then also putting a more simple target and a more complex target up right next to that. So something that if students they don't meet it completely, they get a lower score and then a higher score. And this is a generic scale just taken right from the book. So going along with that, some other things as far as making this digital, which is the point here, they suggest putting the rubric on a website at the beginning of a lesson, which I think is awesome. Like we can use this in Canvas. There's great ways to make rubrics, or you can just make one your own, make it by yourself using a table or something. But putting it at the start of a lesson on a website, I think it's nice having rubrics because in all my college classes, I know exactly what's expected of me. So if I want an A, I know this is how to get 5 points, this is how to get 4 points. And it's nice for students as well. And then also, some other suggestions it gives is having students have an online discussion through texting to the teacher's computer or or just discussing in class what each section of the rubric means. So what does it mean to be proficient? What does it mean what do I have to do to get a 3? What do I have to do to get a 2? And it just helps them to realize what they need to do to be proficient. It also suggests that you can do this with individual students. So calling on a student saying, hey, will you explain to us or just do a quick write-up or something and post it to the class what it means to do this. So rubrics are great. We've all made them, but these are just a couple suggestions to make good rubrics and also to have them on have them digitally. And that is element 1.
All right. Was that the right stopping spot? Hopefully.
Yep, that was great.
Perfect. Okay. Okay, our next person is Liz, and it looks like she also has a video that we will watch. Was the sound okay on that last video? We were good? Okay, awesome. All right, here's element 2.
Hi, this is Elizabeth Bulkley. I'm here tonight to do my assignment on the Marizano book, and tonight I'll be talking about tracking student successes. You're here in my home, and Maribel's also here. She's in the home. Okay, pretty fun. I'm excited tonight to talk to you about this. This is something that I've studied quite extensively in my career, and I'm very anxious to implement technology along with my strategies that I've used in order to measure student successes. I've found that over my 16 years, it is very important in order to include how your students are doing and try to include them in that goal setting as well. But moving it from paper and pencil into an actual technology notebook or something online is something that I'd like to take the next step towards. So tonight I've made you a presentation, and I'm going to take you through it. You'll excuse my voice because of my pneumonia that I've recently had. So I'm feeling a lot better now. Okay. All right. Okay, tracking student progress with technology. First thing that Marzano talks about, along with his co-writer, technically, are assessments and technology. Tonight, this part of the chapter focused on 3 strategies to help those students succeed. The first type is formative assessments. Second, different types of other assessments, and then charting student progress in order to make students successful. At the bottom, I've included 2 pictures, one of Socrates or Socrative. I'm not exactly sure how to say that, but I use that quite frequently in my classroom. And then there's another picture of a laptop. So for formative assessments, it's your typical test format. He suggests that you should have the students create questions within a framework of multiple choice, short answer, and constructive response. And instead of doing it paper pencil, you should actually move towards the students making them through the use of technology. One way to do that is students can be given a chance to generate, ponder, and discuss the questions using polling software through clickers or another device. I worked at a school once, we had clickers, and they came in handy. The students really enjoyed it. Kahoot is another thing you can do online with smartphones, or you can also use iPads, and that's also been very interesting. The kids can also make certain things on Socrates as well, and you can pull them. You can also make a digital parking lot online with Padlet or something like that. And many curriculums offer this kind of online testing format that compiles data in order to analyze student mastery. We use ReadyGen at my school, and it compiles every question from every standard, and it shows you how well they actually understand the standards. You can actually export them into Excel documents and things like that. It's also important for students to understand their mastery within each question that they are posing, and you need to provide feedback to them. So in this chapter, he talks about 3 different types of assessments, obtrusive assessments, which are paper and pencil, and unobtrusive assessments, teacher observes and records mastery, and student-generated assessments. So for the obtrusive, still that paper and pencil method, but moving to an online format instead will enhance their mastery of these standards and make them more involved in that assessment process. With the unobtrusive, the teacher gets to observe and record mastery, but you can also do that through anecdotal notes, perhaps on an iPad, or taking it to that next level with technology. You also have student-generated assessments, like they suggested with the clickers and things like that. Some of their suggestions when it came to capturing things was to use screen capture. They can show you what they're working on their actual device by using programs like Jing, ScreenChomp, TouchCast. Screencast is the one I'm using right now. You could teach them how to use that. They also said that you could file and monitor progress within a standard and save multiple versions. One place I've seen that is through Utah Compose, but it saves those multiple versions. Students could save things as version 1, version 2, show you the progression of their mastery towards that standard, possibly acting out the answer to a math problem or talking about how to edit a document with a partner or something like that, would also be examples of this. So in order to make them more successful, they suggest that you help them all with visuals, making a student progress chart on paper and pencil works as well, but moving it onto that online format. I know for us, we have the Office 365 suite at my school, and OneNote is something that the kids would be able to use since they all have access to it in order to write down their progress towards these standards. They can track their progress digitally, also using Google Drive, and you need to make sure that you take a time to look at it and give them feedback about their digital journals. So one other thing that they suggest you use is for, you can also bring this into that behavior tracking online as well. I know that in our school we use Class Tojo. They suggest something like that would be great. Where kids can use online trackers and set behavioral goals. You can also contact the parents and include them as well inside that type of program. And I included a picture of those Tojo monsters and my cat, who laid there the entire time I made this presentation. So, very fun. I hope that you'll get something from this particular chapter. I thought it was very interesting. I tend to use the formative assessments that they give us, obviously, that are online, like RISE, etc., and Utah Compose. But I don't really go out of my way to have kids devise questions in that technology format, and I think it's an excellent idea. I think it's something that I don't usually take into consideration. Yes, I have them do like a data notebook with their fluency and tracking certain things, but I don't really think to bring that into that electronic realm. And I think in literature class it would save me a lot of time because I keep the highlight and they're very proficient. With my math students, I think it would be a lot trickier since they have a little bit of a harder time getting on and off the computers, but it might add to their total computer literacy, and I could see many benefits from that. So I hope you enjoyed my presentation, and if you have any questions or you need anything, just get a hold of me at ebulkley@dollarcharter.org. Thank you. Have a great night.
Awesome. That was great. Okay, our next one is Janalyn and Melissa, Element 3 on celebrating successes. So, Janalyn and Melissa, are you on and are you ready? I can stop sharing my screen if you need to share your screens. So I think it was Janalyn Pearson, and I think it was, I can't remember Melissa's last name.
I don't see them as participants.
You don't see them on? I don't see them on either, so.
We'll track them down for next time.
All right, well, we might have to catch them next time. We'll get with them. I didn't have a email back, so I'll just double check with both of them and we might have to include them next time. All right, and I don't know if I'm going to say this name right, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's Hung Pei, and there is a video to watch on this one as well.
I'm going to share what I read from the text. The topic is how can I use technology to establish and maintain classroom rules and procedures. And first, we will talk about how we can use technology to explain rule and procedure to our students. And this poster is I print out the pictures and using my classroom to help my students knowing what they are supposed to do in the class during the lesson. But from the text, we not just use those posters. We also can use different programs to explain the classroom rule and procedure to our students, because we can use added sound, picture, videos to help students understand classroom rule and procedure better. And we also can use that technology to generate the rules and procedure with our students. When I read this part, I think about the tools we can use, like Kahoot or Google Forms. The Google Forms, they allow the teacher or students to generate surveys, and so we can see that the student vote what classroom rule they like the most, and what classroom rule we might need to twist a little bit, or fix. And also that the student has opportunity to take ownership to generate the classroom rule and procedure. This is a very good way to help the student cooperate and then maintain the classroom rule. And from the text, it talks about teacher that can use the program. This is the website called freebehaviorcontract.com. And this you can generate the classroom rule contracts and let a student sign up their name. And then this is the good opportunity to help the student confirm with their understanding of classroom rule procedure, or the classroom pledge or constitution. And the last part is we can let a student during the role parade, and at the meantime, we can doing the record and let the students showing their understanding of classroom rule and procedure. And also we can use those record video to show our next year new student to see what they are supposed to do in the classroom. And this is my sharing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That was excellent. Okay, and then our next one is Jamie.
Yep, and I'm on. Can you hear me?
Yes. Do you need to share your screen?
So yeah, if that's okay.
Okay, so I will stop sharing mine so that you can start sharing yours.
Awesome. Okay. And then can you see it? Possibly? I don't know how to share my screen. Why do I do that again? So sorry.
So I think if you hover over, do you have the option? It should be an arrow pointing up if you have the ability to share your screen.
Oh, there it is. Okay. There we go. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. And so I had, and then I'm trying to move this to present. There we go. Okay. So I had organizing the physical layout of your classroom, and I thought this was really, really awesome. And it started out by introducing kind of the concept of emphasis. And so if you guys have ever been introduced to interior design, that's one of the principles of design and that you need to know. And emphasis is basically where you want people to look at the room. So in this picture, the painting is probably the emphasis of the room. And then in this picture, in this interior, the fireplace is the emphasis of the room. And also in like theaters, they arrange the seats and furniture so the emphasis is either the stage, maybe it's the projector, anything like that. And then also in like basketball arenas, they always have the emphasis be the actual court, and so they always arrange all of the layout, the bathrooms, everything about that is centered on the court. And so the question that they pose, what message does your classroom send to your students? What are you focused on? What are you really trying to send to them? And is it focused, are they in row by rows? So you're trying to seclude everyone, not let them collaborate, just stay in their seats and be quiet? Or is it sending a more collaborative message or a technology-rich message? And so what message is your guys' classroom sending to your students? Then, this was one of the quotes from the book. A classroom's physical layout sends a strong message to students about a teacher's beliefs and values regarding the learning process. So, again, all of these things, it kind of, the kids probably don't think about it exactly. They're probably not sitting in their classroom and like, this teacher really values, oh, and I've got motion sensors in my room and the lights just turned off, okay? I've got to wave my hands around. And so the kids really do subconsciously know and understand what our just our beliefs are and values are as teachers with our classroom layout. And then they broke it down into two different things. They talked about learning centers and then also involving students in the design process when you're thinking about the physical layout of your classroom. So with learning centers, some of the things that they said to consider is how many learning centers are needed. So this would be more of like a station rotation type setup. And so maybe like when you're arranging a classroom into different desks. And so how many students do you have? If you divided them into groups, how many desks would you need? And then also, should some centers be close to other particular materials, so like books, other resources, maybe there's things like that. And then also, where should students' desks face in relative to the IWB? And the best placement for computers and printers. And then also, what's the best placement for the technology cart to provide easy access to but to avoid traffic jams? And I don't know about you, but it's kind of hard with 40 students in a class to try and get around having bottlenecks in the classroom to make sure that it's a seamless transition and help that. So that's something that's really important to consider when you are planning your classroom. Then, something that they suggested to plan for that is record your traffic flows. So, set up like a little webcam in your classroom and record that to see where your students are actually going. And maybe there are bottlenecks that you're not realizing that you could find a creative solution to. And so that's something that they suggested because as teachers, we don't have the luxury of just sitting back while our students are doing it. We're helping them actually get to that. And so recording that is a good idea. I need to do that because I think that's a really good idea. And then the next thing, when they talked about involving students in the design process, I absolutely love this idea because some of the things that they talked about is it helps them feel invested and comfortable in the classroom as they participate. They kind of have a sense of, like, I don't know, a sense of, like, pride because they're like, I helped design this. And so I know that's hard because obviously you're going to have your classroom set up when they first enter the class, but maybe you've got a project coming up or something that you can kind of have them do a little group. So something that they suggested is have online group generators do small groups, have them design their ideal classroom, submit it, and then maybe have them vote on the design. And you can do that through all your classes because I was like, what if like one class had a different design and then you would have to be rotating? That's not really practical, but maybe have all of your students vote and then you do an all-around design. So I thought that was awesome. And then I love this quote over here, involving them in problem-solving tasks increases student participation and collaboration. And really, it really does. As teachers, we problem solve all the time, and just kind of sharing our mental capacities and our processes with them will really help them kind of see inside our brain, which is what we're essentially trying to get them to do. And then these were some of the things. I just put in some ideas for ways that you could do this. So this would be a station rotation type thing. You can see the students are going. And then one of the things that I loved about this one is in that corner at the mini lesson station, the teacher can be there, and they can actually pull kids out to have small group strategies. So maybe they were struggling with a few concepts on the test. You can pull specific kids out and be like, okay, maybe we need to relearn this. Maybe there's a concept that they weren't necessarily getting. So I really liked that. I thought that was good. And then these ones are just some other ideas for some small group ideas. And really it does, you can see kind of where the emphasis is. And so at the teacher's desks, maybe they're, like with this one up in the top left, there's like a chair for reading, so that means you're emphasizing reading. And then maybe they're doing like partner or group work with that. And then with the bottom one, it's all of the desks are kind of around the teacher. And so that's kind of emphasizing the teacher a little bit more. And then this is just another one, kind of the same thing as the last one. And then these are some more ones that I found. So again, in pairs, a group, maybe you're doing a tutorial. And so I thought these were good. But it was really, really awesome. They had some really good suggestions. And that's what I found about arranging the physical layout of your classroom. So that is it. And so now, how do I give you back stuff?
At the top of your screen, there should be a little icon that will allow you to stop sharing your screen.
Okay. So, this thing went really, really small. Oh, stop. Stop sharing. Okay. Do you have it? Control back?
Yay, good job.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Everyone did an excellent job. So great job on all those presentations. And now for the rest of you, you kind of know how it works. So if you're not going to be able to attend in person, you can email us like a link to a video or to a presentation. And then if you can attend in person, you can even still do the same thing. But as you saw Jamie do too, she just went right through with, we just let her share her screen. So great job, everybody. Excellent. That was awesome.
Carol,
Okay.
I had one thing.
Yes.
Presentations, they don't have to be a screencast. They can be in any way you want to present it. So keep that in mind. These are all similar, but they don't have to be that way. So any way you want to do it. So.
Thank you for clarifying that. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a PowerPoint or anything. You can just talk if you just want to talk. That was fine too. Okay. But yes, excellent job. Okay. Questions on anything, please let us know. Anybody have any questions right now? Was that anybody? Thought I heard somebody, but maybe not because they're not speaking up again, so maybe it was just a jump off. Okay, just make sure if you have any questions or if there's anything that you're like, I'm not sure about this or I'm not quite sure what I'm supposed to be doing or whatever, just please reach out to us. Here's our information again, and we'll just keep going. You guys are doing great. I think you're set up for week 2. And I think at the end of this, Tony wanted to talk to people that were in his class.
I do. I've made a couple mistakes, so everyone else is dismissed except for Brandon. Don't shut the recording off yet, Brandon.
But everybody else can leave the meeting if you want to, and then Tony's just going to talk to his folks just for a few minutes.
Thank you so very much. I appreciate it. Great work, everyone. Wow. Just very, very impressed. Jamie, really impressed. You're teaching me, and I love being a lifelong learner. Thanks, everyone. I just wanted to reach out to my learners. When we started the class, for some reason I added the same assignments twice. So in my class, many of you have been seeing 2 assignments for everything. So please don't weird out. Brandon helped me today to take out the ones that were duplicates. And so if I took out an assignment of yours that you had done that was on the duplicate form, please forgive me and just let me know, and I promise we'll get you full credit for that and move you forward. So if you have additional questions or concerns about the assignments in the class or anything, just as Carol mentioned, please reach out to us and let us know. I think this duplication really is only in my class and it won't affect the others. And I think that's about it, Brandon.
Okay.
Appreciate you guys, and I'll be ready for you next week. We'll see you next Thursday. Hey, why don't you take Monday off, guys? You did such a good job today. Go play with your family on Monday.
I like that, Tony. Thank you.
Ciao, ciao. See you later. Bye-bye now.